set down for second reading forthwith. The Honourable Anne Tolley.
Mr Speaker, I move that the Social Security Commencement of Benefits Amendment Bill be now read a second time. Mr Speaker, I want to reiterate the Government's consistent and long-standing position on benefits and stand-down periods. The current stand-down provisions in Section 80BA of the Act first came into force in 1997. These provisions were based on the policy agreed in 1996 that benefits commence on the day after a stand-down period ends. This policy has never changed. The legislative error created on the 3rd of June 1998 is a technical mistake, not a policy change. However, the result is that it provides for people to have an additional day of benefit payment that they were never intended to have. So the legislation needs to be changed to avoid unintended Crown costs, but in effect, that is costs to the taxpayer. We need to avoid unintended costs to the taxpayer, but we are attempting to do this in a fair way. There are 3 separate provisions protecting people who have been able to receive this additional day or want to lodge a review to receive it. And this is a very reasonable compromise which provides a balance between clients' interests and the financial costs of the error. Mr Speaker, I'd like to take the opportunity to outline to the House the process that clients can now expect if this legislation comes into effect. Clients who have already lodged a review request, and I understand there's between 8,000 and 10,000 of those to date, will continue to have it processed in the normal way. These reviews can relate to a benefit granted back to 1998 when the legislation was amended. Those who have been granted a benefit after a stand-down since the operational practice changed on the 29th of September 2015 will also be protected by this bill. And this bill will also enable people who have been granted a benefit since MSD were made aware of the error to seek a review. And these reviews, if my SOP tabled in the House today is passed by the House, must be lodged by January the 8th, giving people 7 weeks to do so. Review forms are currently available online and at all work and income sites. They can be posted, they can be faxed, or they can be emailed. In addition to this, MSD have created an online form which can be submitted electronically, and this will be available once the legislation has passed. Mr Speaker, I want to make it clear that these protection provisions are a measure of the Government's good faith. They do not negate the original policy intent, that a benefit should commence on a day after a stand-down period ends. As I said earlier, those seeking a review will have 7 weeks to submit their request for review, and I think this strikes a balance between what is fair to them and what is fair to the taxpayer. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to.